when they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need to worry. There is no need for dread. It's just time to discuss the thing at the foot of the bed.
Good evening, and if you're just tuning in, thank you for your patience. It's a live show that you're listening to on 105.3 out of Mississippi and 107.7 out of New Orleans, Louisiana. And this is The Thing at the Foot of the Bed, and you're listening to UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. I'm one of your hosts, Lorilei Potvin. Never fails, technical difficulties. I've restarted my computer. Poor Dave, my amazing co-host and good friend, didn't get the link, just everything. So we're glad you guys are here. We know you'll tune in. So thanks for hanging and waiting for us. We're going to show up here. I promise we never miss. So a little bit about myself. First of all, I am a host. It's my 5th year anniversary this week on UPRN. I have been here. So I have the Angel Rock on Monday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, Dave and I do The Thing at the Foot of the Bed. Here's Julie Jean Bassett. We got Jackie Lane. Welcome.
There we go.
I am a Canadian psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, registered nurse, budding animal communicator, and I'm working on it. I'm getting better at it. Practicing every day. That's the key, right? Well-versed in near-death experiences, having studied them professionally and personally for over 40 years and having had one as a toddler, and very, very well-versed in the paranormal. Not by choice. I always say it found us. We weren't looking for it. And we've shared our story on the Travel Channel's Paranormal Survivor Season 4, Episode 9. So if you guys like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends and family, acquaintances, people at work. There's something for everybody on this network. UPRN's been around for over 25 years. We stream multiple shows daily and from all different genres and walks of life, 7 days a week. And when we're not streaming live, the archive server dips into the last 25 plus years of shows and streams things randomly. So you can always find something interesting and exciting. We have 40 plus, I believe it's 40, at least 40 hosts on the network now that do live shows, and we're always adding new ones. So be sure to let your friends and family and everybody you know about us. 80% of our audience is audio, though. So if you want to join in the conversation, like Julie Jean Bassett and Jackie Lane and the rest of our crew that usually shows up, I'm sure will pop in here. Like I said, we were a few minutes late. We got Jennifer M. How you're going to do that is you're going to head over to, first of all, my co-host David has the Spirit Experience. He's streaming on his YouTube channel. The Spirit Experience. And are you in your group too, Dave?
I'm on They Whisper to Me today.
Okay, so you're on They Whisper to Me. Okay, on Facebook, his page. I'm streaming on my Facebook profile. It's public, Lorilei Potvin. I am streaming on my YouTube channel, The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. We're streaming on UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network on Facebook and YouTube. Canada's Most Haunted. We are also streaming on Instagram under The Angel Rock. But the comments don't get integrated into the conversation here. So I will try and dip back and forth to say hello. So we're not purposely ignoring you. This show and the Angel Rock are both very audience participative. Without all of you, Dave and I would just be having an awesome conversation off air, which we do, but we love your feedback and we talk about what you guys want to talk about. Lastly, if you guys want to watch us on TV, we have our own TV channel. You just head over to Roku. You're going to go to the channel store and type in UFO space P as in paranormal. There's a drop-down list. We're about the 3rd or 4th one down. And you're looking for UFO space paranormal and United Public Radio. You can watch us on TV. Go ahead, Dave. Don't forget to tell Motor Group.
No, that's good that you said that. Everybody, my name is David Hanzel. I am a spiritual medium, channel, coach, all kinds of fun stuff like that. I'm also an animal communicator and an angel communicator, and I do a lot of things that Lorilei does.
Yes.
We do about the same things. If you are listening to us and if you heard the show before, sometimes we'll play video clips and all. And what happens if you go to Facebook and look up the thing at the foot of the bed on Facebook with Lorilei Potvin and David Hanzel, you can see those videos on there because Lorilei puts them in there for you. Plus, you can share any stories that you have about anything paranormal, metaphysical, spiritual. You can ask all kinds of stuff. You can just post stuff in there. It's all like-minded people. And also, once we get up to 200 people in there, which we're getting there.
We're getting there.
It's going. Because it's kind of new yet. Once we do that, Lorilei and I will make sure that once in a while we go do some lives in the group and do some card pulls and some readings for you guys. And that is it. Other than
what
that,
I forgot to tell people too, when I said 80% of our audience is listening, we do broadcast on this network to every country in the world. So we have people from all over the world watching. I had to
so if you are all over the world and you are watch us live or anything like that, if you just type, if we can't understand it, we will look it up. We will make sure when we look up.
We had somebody a couple weeks ago. I'm sure it was our show. And we weren't sure what they were saying, but we could figure out Google Translate or something. We can figure out.
So feel free, trust me. But if you're listening to us, you probably know something anyway. Otherwise, you just be hearing us garble all day long. Outside of that, like Lorilei said, we had some problems, and this happened to me. I was trying to send one of my friends some messages on Messenger, and they were like voice messages. And I would make the voice message, and then I'd hit send, and then I'd go check back, and it was still sending 2-3 hours later. So something happened. I finally had to redo my entire Messenger, and that's what happened tonight. Lorilei always sends me the link to come on 10 minutes prior to the program, and I didn't see the link. And I thought, wait, what's wrong? So I called Lorilei, and we figured it out, and Lorilei figured it out. So
I said, what's wrong, Dave? What's wrong? You go, and you said, is everything okay? I go, yeah, it's fine. I'm just throwing out the last bit of my makeup. What's going on? You go,
I have no link.
I go, what do you mean no link? I sent it like 10 minutes ago. So because of the way we produce with Instagram can be very finicky. You can't close your computer after you set it up. So because I restarted my computer, because like Dave said, we had the problem with Messenger, but I also had it with the App Store today. So I thought, I'm not taking any chances tonight. So that's why we're a few minutes late. I restarted and set a few things back up again like I had to, so that we didn't have any problems and we could hang out with all of you. So
yeah. So what craziness has happened to you this week?
Okay. So first of all, my brother, who I am estranged from, I don't speak to my family for various reasons, and my choice, right? And I'm good with that.
It's what it is.
I have over 150 first cousins. My dad comes from a giant good French Canadian Roman Catholic family. I think I've talked about this before. My grandmother having 17 children and actually being pregnant for 25 years straight and ended up with 17. Anyways, it was Monday night going into Tuesday. It's about 3 a.m. I wake up, and literally I have one cousin I was always compared to. She was born out of wedlock. Not that that's a problem, but back in the day it was. And my grandmother raised her, but we were 6 months and 1 day apart. And our children, we both had trouble getting pregnant. Her first child is 6 months and 1 day older than my eldest child. Kind of strange woo-woo. Anyways, I never think of her. And if you're listening by any chance, honey, it's not that I'm not being rude. It's just we hardly ever talk, right?
Yeah.
And I wake up at 3 a.m. and I hear her name, and I hear, yeah, she's going to contact you. And I went, well, that's kind of weird. So I go back to sleep, wake up at 7, and it's like she's literally in my head all day long. And this is not, and again, not being disrespectful, but with so many cousins and things. And I do love my cousin. She's a very sweet lady. But I never hear from her. Like, I'm lucky if I hear from her once a year and a half. Like, we're not close. And so I had a booked healing session reading on Tuesday afternoon. And I'm sitting there, and we go through the reading. It was a longer reading. It's one of my regular clients. And all of a sudden, I'm about to send her something at the end of the reading. I open up Messenger. Who messages me? My cousin. She'd actually asked me, my brother's a musician, that's why I mentioned him, and he's a blues and jazz musician. Apparently, I guess they were advertising all over the radio in the city that he was playing live tonight at some park, so she wanted me to go and see him. I said, sorry, hanging out with Dave and all the rest of the footies. So my whole point, okay, so that happened. Then I've mentioned this on this show before, but we haven't really delved into it. Maybe we will, about the high strangeness about this app that came out 5 years ago called Randonautica. And it's basically almost like the law of attraction. And by using this app and a random number generator and quantum computer all in the app.
Real quick, I'm gonna let you finish. I am so glad you're talking about that because I have a story for you that has to do with that, and that happened this week. Okay, so
I think I didn't have enough time. You're gonna know why by the end of the story, Dave, but we will talk about it maybe next week if you guys want to hear more about this. So Randonautica, I've actually done a show on this with my previous co-host. I believe it was while we were still on our old network, and I had found this app through watching various videos and stuff. And my concern is, after doing deep research, you use this app, and basically what happens is, and I'm oversimplifying it, you go into it and say you want to manifest something scary. So you think of something scary. You say, I want to manifest something scary. They ask you how far you want to travel. Do you want to go 2 miles? Do you want to go 10 miles? And they show you areas with really active points and some not so active. But what has been shown with this thing is people have found over 3 or 4 murder sites when they wanted to either find death or something scary. There's been paranormal things they have found and whatever. In the beginning, I believe it was very real. But as time went on, people got really stupid and were setting up scenarios and faking it, what have you. So anyways, long story short, Wednesday, I think it was yesterday, it was either yesterday or late Tuesday night, I'm thinking, geez, I wonder what's going on with Randonautica. I haven't looked into that in a long time. Have no reason why I would have thought of this. I thought, I wonder if Dave and I maybe should talk about that Thursday night. Lo and behold, our mutual friend Leanne, haven't talked to Leanne, haven't said a word to Leanne all day that day. What does she send me? Randonautica 2024 update. All this weird stuff, like it's literally like I think of it or it shows up and it's showing up. So I want to hear your story. Does it have to do with Randonautica or what does it have to do with?
It has to do with thinking about stuff and
okay. Well, there you go. No, you guys tell us too. What's going on with you guys? Is this happening to you guys? Have you noticed this week?
Mm-hmm. So you guys, if some people don't know this, but I study the Hermetic principles or the Kabbalion written by the 3 initiatives. So that's the 7 laws, and like the law of attraction is in there. The law of assumption is the big one that's in there. I study the law of assumption. I've been studying it for a long time and been using it. And that's got me a lot of things like my house, how everything worked out. But anyway, so Tuesday, I've been trying to, I won't explain what it is. It's a long process. I can't explain. I've been studying it for a long time. But so basically I put myself in the position of something I want or need. And I pretty much move over to, it's kind of like moving over to that future you in order to have that thing. So Tuesday night, before I go to bed, like I always do, when I walk downstairs, I have a big board on my steps going down, and I read it every day on the way down. It's just like a grateful thing. I'm grateful for everything that's happening to me. I'm grateful for these things that are coming to me. And I had said, one that I had been doing for about a week or two was, I'm grateful for the lottery win. I am grateful for the lottery win that's happening to me and all this stuff. So Tuesday, and then I ask, like Wednesday morning, when I woke up and come down, I say, I'm grateful for all that. And then I say, I would like a clear sign in my reality today saying that, that you're conspiring in my favor. Me and my mom, and we go out, we always buy a couple like Powerball tickets or something, or lotteries. And I'll always check them and they're no, nothing. But anyway, I wanted one to win. So I told my mom, I went and picked her up Wednesday morning, and I said, let's stop at this one gas station because I want to buy another lottery ticket and just check these for the heck of it and see what happens. So as I before I walked in, actually, in that morning, every sign kept coming in saying, oh, that stuff you've been asking for, it's coming. I mean, videos, just random like psychic things where people would come up on TikTok and go, this message is for you. And I would just listen. And then I got another one of those weird TikTok ones where it says, this sound means you're going to have all this money coming into you and all that. And so I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm having a feeling right now. I'm really having a very positive feeling about everything. And I don't know why. And I've gone past the point where, like, you always talk yourself out of something. You know how you say something good's going to happen, and then you always go, oh, no, it's not going to happen to me. It never happens to me. Anyway, I walk in for the 2 lottery tickets. I scan the first one, and it says not a winner. I'm like, go figure. I scan the second one, and all of a sudden that music and that sound goes off. I won $300.
No way.
And I ran back. I had told my mom, I said, we're going to win off this ticket. I know we are because it's all day long. It's been all day long. I'm getting every sign in the world. And then boom, got the $300. So we split it. I got yours,
Cool.
mine. And my mom goes, how did you do that? And I said, and I'll tell you guys, it's true when Lorilei and I have touched on this so many times, your perception of the world, because you're creating your world. So whatever your perception is what you're going to get. So like when we have our back and forth and we talk about, like, somebody says, oh, I believe in demons. And I say, well, I don't believe in demons. That doesn't mean that demons don't exist. That means that in my way, my perception is blocked of it. So I'm not going to see it no matter what, unless something needs to happen. So that's all that is. Everything does exist. To an extent.
So let's go back to Randonautica. So the video Leanne sent me, I go, oh my God, I cannot believe you sent me this. Like, I literally was thinking about this. I hadn't told anybody. So I watched it, and afterwards Leanne explained to me she had just seen it. She's heard me mention Randonautica, so that's why she sent it. And we had a quick discussion afterwards today about it, because I said, I have respect for this girl that did the video. She missed a lot of points on it, knowing it as well as I do. No shade there in any way. And I said, I have respect for her from the way she does her videos. From what I can see, she's done a lot of work, but she was very clear, because she's such a big skeptic, that she believes that your mind and your thoughts have no bearing on what happens in your life. That is where I disagreed.
So untrue. That is a untrue truth. That one is untrue. It really does. Thanks, you guys. Yeah, but what she was talking about, she thought about those people all day, the Randonautica stuff. The universe is going to point you towards what you need and what you want and what's going to be good for you in some way, and it's just going to show up. So maybe you're supposed to be going on that app for something too.
I try to tell myself that, though, like, say things don't go well. Like, I can tell you, I don't know what the heck it is with my partner Del and I in tires. We were in our previous house, and my old van, and it wasn't old at the time, I don't have it any longer, but we went through 13 tires on that van. I was driving, I think it was after the show last weekend, and the tire blew out. I had to drive on it a bit, and thank God it wasn't on the highway, and the rim's no longer good, but my car's a 2003. So it's a little difficult to find tires, right? Okay, so we got that. We got the spare on there right now. We're looking for a new one. We'll find one. I know we will, because I'm putting it into the universe that we're finding a new tire, and we will at a good price. We were sitting on the front steps last night. My partner Del says to me before he goes to work, oh no, my tire's flat on my car. And I'm going, what the heck do you mean your tire's flat on the car? And I'm thinking he's talking about the main car. We have 2 cars in the driveway. I've been waiting forever for him to do a little bit of work so we can get them safetied. No, his car that needs a little bit of work, just body work and stuff, is completely flat. This is yesterday. So I'm talking to my friend Leanne, our friend, her, Julie knows her, Leanne. And we were chit-chatting last night, and I was outside, and I said, you're never going to believe this. I'm telling the story like I'm telling you guys. And I show her, and I noticed that the hubcap cover is cracked. So I didn't know if someone had kicked it or not. Like, something happened. I knew this. So I tell my partner Del about it today, and he goes and looks at it. He tries to fill it up, and he goes, do you think this was caused by a knife or something. It literally looks like a little bit of an outcropping with cracks. Like maybe somebody tried to do something. And I said, how could you miss this part? Right by the wheel well. Perfect slit in the tire. Somebody went by and took a knife to our tire.
Oh, no.
I don't know what this is with tires. We have had to get about 5 different tires now in the last 2 years between that vehicle and now this vehicle, my previous home. Like, and I was jokingly saying, don't tell me, is this a sign from the paranormal world again about the tires?
Yeah, look up what that would mean. There might be a meaning behind tires. I mean, maybe it's you're going places or you're not going
I like
places.
that. You're going places.
Yeah, you're going places. Who knows? I mean, we've been getting lots of stuff. This, for you people talking about synchronicities, I will tell you, and anybody listening out there, learn how to be aware of everything around you, no matter what you're doing and where you're going or whatever it is, because these synchronicities are popping up. I really do think that it's really getting heightened this year. It's really heightening up this year. I've been paying attention to every little thing, and so far it has done some pretty good things.
But like Jennifer says here, okay, this is spooky. Not what she's saying so much, but it reminded me of something. This has been happening all my life. A name will pop in my head, and within 3 days, I will get a phone call from that person. I agree. It has been happening.
Yeah, I get that too.
But the scary part has been, okay, because I worked in palliative care a lot, being a nurse. All of a sudden, a patient's name would pop in my head. Somebody I had on maybe my caseload working out in the community a year, 2 years previous, without fail. Within that week, could be the next day, their name would be in the obituary. It got to the point where I did not want somebody's name to pop up.
It's like, I don't want to know. Don't tell me.
I literally asked one of my mentors when I first started working, like, does this mean I'm the harbinger of death? And I didn't mean it from an egotistical sense. I meant like, oh my Lord, like I wasn't thinking of this person. I didn't want to think of this person, and now they're dead. Like, and sometimes they come on for like a dressing for a leg wound or something. Like they weren't palliative. They weren't ready to leave this world. And I could never figure out, but I found out since I'm not the only one that's worked in healthcare that this has happened to before. So maybe we're so tapped in or tuned into.
I was going to say I think, Lorilei, you just hit the nail right on the head there. I think for people who work, I took one of my readings today was for somebody who used to work in hospice, and she's going back. And it's the same thing. When I was talking about stuff, when her people were coming in, she's like, I saw this all my life in hospice. How did I not catch this? And I said, I think all you guys have it. You're connecting to that energy, like healthcare and all that. I think it's an automatic connection to that energy. I really
and Dan's right. Maybe have safety from an accident. I started to say that. I started talking about that when you were first saying about taking notice of these things, or say things don't happen the way we necessarily want them to happen. That's how I got on the tire story.
Yeah.
So say we were planning on going out and you get a flat tire, for example, then you can't go, right? I always try to remind myself there is a reason for this. Maybe it saved me from an accident. Maybe I was supposed to be home for a reason. Like, I think if we can open our minds to the possibilities, because even the work that we're doing, we don't have the whole story and the whole big picture, right? There'd be no purpose for any of us to be here.
And you know what else? It's like kind of like say you're driving your car and you get caught in a huge traffic jam, okay? And you're sitting in your car and you're all mad. This traffic jam. And then some people will say, well, maybe, you needed not to be someplace right away, and that's why the traffic jam is. Well, it's not only that, but sometimes you participate in another person's
absolutely.
So there could have been somebody else on that highway who it's not good for them to get where they're going. So the traffic jam happens and you're just playing a part in that.
Yes, because I had a client, well, she's still a client, but she's a very big proponent of the law of attraction and very drawn to that. I told her it's a great thing, but if it so feels right to you, there are many other laws out there, many other things, because she was very concerned about a certain person that was in their life and why were they in their life at the time. Like, what had she done to draw this person to her, and on without giving too many details. But what really came through from spirit was, you didn't draw this person to you. This was a contract you guys had made prior to incarnating, and you are the catalyst or the impetus for something should the other person choose to utilize what they take from the relationship between the two of you. So you hit the nail on the head. It's not always all about us. Sometimes we're playing a part in
For
other
somebody
people's.
else.
Yeah.
Because if you guys, I've noticed this about the world too, and people who is ever watching us right now, if you want to comment on this, please feel free. I've noticed the law of correspondence has been really acting up, and in short, law of correspondence is pretty much what you put out there, the universe pays you back for it, gives you back. So you do a lot of good stuff, the good stuff is coming back to you. I realized that the law of correspondence was working very quick. Some people call it karma. Okay. But the law of correspondence is really engaging because people are doing like good things, and like within a couple of days, that good thing, that experience is coming back to them right away. And the one thing is about this too, it also does that for when you do a bad thing. So if that's going to help you to try to think about what you're doing before
I
you
call
do
it the law of energy, because it really is. What you put out there is what you will receive back.
That's the law of correspondence. It's the law. It's the polarizing law. It's the law of so above, so below, cause and effect. It's all pretty much, they're all slightly different, but they all work the same way. Yeah. But they're all coming in pretty fast. I just had somebody too the other day. It was last week, I believe it was. There's somebody I haven't seen from my old job over a year ago, and I just kind of forgot about this person. Anyway, I was talking to one of my friends, and I said, "Oh, I haven't seen this person in a long time." And that night, that person texted me. So it's weird how that stuff.
But it's weird, like the fact that this was somebody that's a family member, say for myself, that I never think of, and the fact that I was woken up by whether it was their energy, astral traveling, whether it was from spirit, whatever. And the minute I opened my eyes a few hours later, it was literally like their energy body was like, I was not shocked when I saw the message, because I knew, I just knew the first time to be that clear that you knew something was coming through from this relative today. It was weird.
And to anybody listening, you don't have to be a psychic like we are or anything. Literally, if you know it, pay attention, because it's giving you that. We all have those same things. Jennifer,
hi to everybody. Sorry, I didn't mean
to. Oh yeah, go ahead. Say hi to everybody.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry. So we got Jackie Lane. She says, "Hey everyone." Julie Jean Bassett. Hi Lorilei, David, and everyone. Hang on. I just realized because more and more people are popping in. Jennifer M says, "Woohoo! It's Thursday." Michelle Wilfong says, "Hey everyone." Diane Brighton. Hi, Lorilei and David and everyone here. Hi. Hang on. We're still scrolling. Contessa Martin says hello. I don't know if we got everybody. Hang on. Let me keep scrolling. People are putting all kinds of comments. I had on Monday night, she's been on my show before. I'm just checking to make sure we didn't miss anybody. Oh, we got Jody Jenkins. She says, or they say, I should say, "Hiya, both from South Wales, UK." Well, welcome. We're glad you're here. It's late there. We know it's 12:30 at night because we usually have another regular, Julie, that watches from the UK that pops in. What was I about to say to you? I was saying, and I got off track here. Oh, yeah. So it was a regular guest of mine, Sonia Roy, fellow Canadian, and used to be a Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer for 20 years. So a lot of people may not know what that is, but I'm sure you've heard of the Canadian Mounties with the red coat and the fedora, and they're kind of like it's kind of like the US, CIA, FBI kind of thing. They're higher up the RCMP usually, depending what province you're in. She's been writing this book on narcissism, and I am telling you, that I have never seen the chat more active and more busy. It was insane, but it was the beautiful thing was she had written the book from the perspective of how to heal from it, the 12 steps to healing. But the whole point I mentioned that was our chat was going crazy. It just blew up, because who hasn't met a narcissist in their life, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And you know what? You know what's really funny, you guys? To your younger people, narcissism is not a new thing. They have been, but it does, however, seem like there's a lot more people who have it now. And I don't know if it's because a lot more people are that. It's actually diagnosable too, I hear.
It is not diagnosable, but it's not treatable.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the sad part. So I want to add this too. Julie Jean Bassett says core themes for a flat tire: obstacles and challenges, letting go of control, humility, adaptability, and spiritual support. And I'm going to go from the tires and what I experienced with these synchronicities. I would go with the last one. Because, yeah, there are obstacles and challenges, but everybody has obstacles and challenges. Letting go of control. I am not a control freak. I don't think anybody really is in my house. My youngest maybe, but not a control freak, but needs a schedule. Humility. I am a Leo. I do try to remember to try to be humble. Sometimes I forget, so that could be it. Adaptability. I do try to go. We've even been talking about it. Have an open mind if you can about certain things, right?
Absolutely. You always got to have that open mind. That's the same thing. That's what I wish. And if I'm just creeping into paranormal just for a moment.
Because we have a question.
Okay. So. Oh, that's okay. Like in a paranormal, when people go out there, if you ever do investigations, you have to go in with a very open mind. The more open your mind is, the more cool stuff you're going to find out about. Because I think sometimes people close themselves off to things.
I want to say, Julie, I didn't say thank you to you, and I appreciate that. She said, I was just posting a few of the possibilities from Google. I really appreciate that, so thank you. I didn't want to make it sound like and I don't think you took it that way, but for anybody listening, I wasn't being critical. I appreciated it. So Contessa has a question. She says, I have a question off topic. Have you ever heard of Alan Kardec? He was a medium and started Spiritism. From what I have heard, I just wondered if either of you knew anything about him. I've heard the name, don't know anything about him.
I don't know anything about him, but I don't think he was the one who, I mean, in the West here, are you talking about across the pond, or are you talking about, if it's spiritualism in here, weren't it the sisters who pretty much brought it in? I forget their names.
Yeah, they were back in the 20s. Yeah. Okay, let's see Alan Kardec. Well, let's see. Well, this is way back in the day.
It was actually women.
No, but this is way back in the day. He was born October 3rd, 1804. What is the Spiritism of Alan Kardec? Spiritism or Kardecism is a reincarnationist and spiritualist doctrine established in France in the mid-19th century by writer and educator Hippolyte Léon Denisard Rival, also known as Alan Kardec. Kardec considered his doctrine to derive from a Christian perspective. So they're saying it's based on a true story. He went through trials and tribulations. I thought you were trying to spell spiritualism, but you were not. It was you are indeed right. It is spiritism. You are also right. I was looking, somebody put the Fox sisters up here, and you're absolutely right. Those were the sisters.
I think spiritism, well, I guess in a nutshell, spiritism and spiritualism are two, well, they're kind of separate, I guess. I don't know. You can't really lump stuff.
Something about a reincarnationalist is what it was saying as I was reading that. So
yeah, it's just funny because there's a lot of Christians who don't believe in reincarnation.
So Diane, it says he was from France. I read his real name versus his stage name. So let's see. I'll go back here. We'll go look at what it says. Yeah, he was. It sounds like he died and was born in France. So he was born October 3rd, 1904 in Lyon, France. Died March 31st, got my glasses on. Hang on. I think it says 89 or 69. Hang on. 69, age 64, and he died in Paris, France. Says he's buried in France, and his parents were Jean-Baptiste Antoine Rival and Jeanne-Louise Dumal. So his real name was not Alan Kardec.
Yeah, it was different. I like some of these. You guys got a lot of good comments, Han. We were talking about the UK and the spiritual churches everywhere. Yes, they're everywhere. And I wish they were here, but they're not, unfortunately. Now, Jody Jenkins has a really good question. Do you see it early?
Let's see. Yeah. Okay.
Jody Jenkins says, is there a reason why some people notice spirit on photos where most people wouldn't necessarily pick up on it? Yeah.
Yes. I'm scratching my back.
There's several reasons. And then I guess we need a little bit more context because there's a lot of different ways.
I can answer it very quickly.
Go
There is
ahead.
a reason why most people notice. Never mind that David said there's a variety of reasons. Some people are more intuitive. Some people can feel into it, see it, even though you can't. But the main reason why Joe Blow may see a spirit, nobody else does, and we get lots of this. I know I do. People will send me pictures and say, I've got all kinds of paranormal activity. I've taken pictures of it. You can see it. I haven't got a freaking clue what I'm looking at. The reason why is the human brain, right? It wants to make faces or wants to connect the dots, make something logical out of something illogical. And I take, for example, the clouds in the sky. I know when I was little, friends and I would lay on our backs. We've talked about this before, David and I, and all of us. And we look at things and say, well, I think that one looks like a dragon. No, I think that one looks like a plane. No, I think it looks like a dog. We all see something different because of pareidolia is what I think. That is, I think, the number one reason. What do you think, Dave?
No, that's exactly what I was going to say, depending on the context, because if you're looking at it this way, like Lorilei or I, sometimes we can look at a picture and like, I'll say, there's an old man that's in that room, and they'll be looking at the picture going, I don't see any old man. It's like, no, I just feel that this is that old man's room, or I can like see the outline of it. They might not be able to. I'm doing it because I'm tuning into my medium stuff, and then they can validate, yeah, that's where my grandfather, that was his bedroom. I said, well, I can see him in the photo. And it's not that he's really in the photo. It's just my point of reference and where I'm going. The spirit world is connecting to me and telling me that is that person's room. So that's
like
just
I said, some people are more intuitive than others. So I do want to add this because this kind of goes along with what we're talking about. Jody, you're asking a lot of good questions. She says, I wonder if we reincarnate, who's in heaven? Wouldn't it be empty because souls have reincarnated? I'm going to go for it, Dave, and you jump in. Yeah. We've had this conversation many times. It's the same reason why there's no time on the other side. The past, present, and future are all happening at the same time. So do we have all the answers? No. But what I tend to believe, take what resonates, leave the rest, is the soul actually, if you will, is able to go into very different lifetimes, if you will, past, present, future. They're all happening at the same time, but there's a core piece, I think, that resides in heaven. We will never run out of souls. Ever, ever, ever. There is a lineup to come to earth. And the reason why is it is a place where you come in with spiritual amnesia. You come into these dense, clumsy, heavy bodies. You don't remember who you are. You don't remember where you came from. But there's so much opportunity for us to learn and evolve and grow as a soul. Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. I was going to say, if you look at it this way, so you wonder why, if we were kind of who's in heaven. One, you're in heaven. We never leave heaven. Nobody's left heaven. Nobody has. This is the dream. But anyway, to take that a little bit further, if you want to understand it like this. Okay, say I'm in North Carolina. Okay, I'm in North Carolina, and let's say New York is heaven. Okay, well, it's really not like that. It's heaven, or what you're talking about after here, is not a specific place with a specific graphic or a specific border or anything like that.
I always say we're looking at it with human eyes and a human.
It is. It's really hard to explain it. Now, I understand it, but the only reason I understand it is because my near death is still fresh in my mind. So I understand it in that way. But it's basically, when, let's say this, I got to say it in a human way though. If you leave here, you go through, depending on the person, you go through a period where it's like you're not worried about your body. You don't see a body. You're not your body, because actually you're really not your body. And when you leave here, you'll remember that. Yeah. But you could just be within consciousness and think whatever you want. But the moment you think it, you're there. So there's a lot of souls like us who are at a place that looks like this place, and they can meet there. It's really difficult to explain because it's the most intricate, beautiful dream, but it's actually reality. This is the dream.
I don't think, though, that we're ever going to run out of souls, because
no, there's no such thing.
Don't actually leave. And the way I explained it is from a human perspective, but think about it. All of us have the ability to do what David and I do. Does that mean we're going to be good at everything we do? Not not likely, because
No.
we are not human beings and we're not good at absolutely everything we do. There will be certain things that we will be better at than others. But we have, whether you want to call it your subconscious, your higher self, whatever you want to call that, the oversoul. I've heard many names for it.
Yeah, it's the
We
oversoul or
all
whatever.
can tap into it.
All of it, yeah.
And your higher self, I'm going to use that word, knows everything. It knows what you've done before. It knows what's your plan is for being here. It knows the many potentialities of the future. That's why, think about it. If you ever watch this, and if you haven't, check it out. If you go through a past life or future life hypnosis session, you can tap right into there, go right back. You can watch it like a movie if you've got a good therapist. There's a really good past life regression. She's actually Canadian. Her name is Haley Reese, and she had it recorded while it was done. And anybody I've shared that video with, I'll try and remember, you guys. If I forget, please remind me and post it in our group. But it's a 3-part video, and she gets answers to why she feels the way she does about her little sister. She's very motherly and very worrying about her sister. She has an aunt who she's never been particularly close to, never really liked.
Mhm.
It is a fascinating video to watch. She had something paranormal happen, and she had no control over it. Her mom was filming, and the camera blacks out at a certain point, and the battery goes dead while her mom's filming. And they're in a therapist's office watching it. So when you think about it, how do you tap into your past lives? For example, when you have a past life regression, you can also have a future life regression too.
Yeah. But a future life regression, a lot of people don't do them. I find, this is my personal opinion, I don't find future life regressions as being 100% accurate from your perspective where you
They're
are
just
now.
giving you a view of a potentiality.
Exactly. See, me and Lorilei are on the same page. There is, hey, if somebody wants me to explain it, this is the easiest way I can explain when you're talking about souls and oversouls and all that. And it's a really quick explanation. So say this, me, just say me. This is the human way. Me, this is the source, God, whatever. Okay. Outside of God, I have different appendages that come out. So say this appendage is you. So you are this appendage, and this would be your oversoul. And then from the oversoul, you have different lives. These are your fingers. Your fingers all have these lives at the same time, because past is really, it's not a past, but this is how we think about it. So we're going to do it for that. Otherwise, it's too difficult to understand. So you have all these lives. Even though that you have 5 different lives going on, you are still attached to the oversoul, which is still attached to the source. So you're always there. All your lives are happening at the same time. You are several different people at the same time, yet you're still one. So if you look at it that way, that's probably.
I like that, Dave. That's a good example. So Jody shares, and I'll read Contessa's comment. And please don't ever be sorry, Jody, about asking
don't be sorry.
That's why we started this show. Like Dave and I have planned whole shows, and you guys want to talk about something else, and we just pivot. Okay, that's why we started it. So she says, hang on, I'm going to scroll up a bit. It says, hang on. My computer doesn't want to cooperate. Okay, I've lived outside my body, watching my body, living in my body since I was a little girl. Yep, all of us can do that. Some of us not so easily. Some people it comes naturally to, and it sounds like it comes very natural to you. I think most of us can do a lot of these things as small children, but as we get older, we kind of forget, if you will. So you said, I was confused how the other kids were so engulfed in their play or in their conversation that that's all they knew at the time. I was always watching myself playing and playing at the same time, or acting like I was playing because I was watching myself like others would be watching me. I'm in and out of my body at the same time. It's exhausting, and it would be. And what I'm going to share with you right now, if you're not doing it already, you may very much want to look into grounding and various different exercises with grounding to pull that spirit body, that energy body back to the earth. The other thing I have to say, and I never say this, Jody, and if you don't want to answer, it's okay. Do you have a twin, or was there a twin involved with you? Maybe past life? I don't know why, but I get that so strongly when I'm reading your message. I don't know why. And I don't normally say stuff like that. You can ask people, and if not, I could be wrong, but I'm really picking that up about you.
Yeah. Well, actually, Jody says, I'm trying not to do it. I feel I cannot actually be in the moment without watching myself. Well, I'll tell you this. You're not actually in the moment when you're watching yourself. You're
No.
outside of the moment. You're observing. Laura Lee is absolutely correct. To anybody who has that, grounding is the best thing to do. All grounding means is that you're here, you acknowledge that you're here, and you feel everything, and then you're in that moment. Once you realize, I'm grounded, I'm here, I'm a spirit having a human experience, this is what's happening. There's a lot of people who don't want to do that. They want to flit around in la la land. And that's all and good if you're doing the work or some kind of spiritual work. But otherwise, you do have to be grounded. You're here for an experience. You're not here to save the world. You're not here to be the best at anything. You're not here for any of that. You're just here to have this experience. So there is, to be grounded, like Laura Lee said, will probably keep you, it'll keep you in that position. I do understand what you mean in a sense when I dream. Now, this didn't happen until after my coma and everything, and my near death. And I'm not putting anything out there that there's something weird to everybody to look into, but rarely, if ever, when I'm in my dream, I'm never seeing my dream from my perspective. I'm always observing it. When I have memories, I don't ever see my memories from my perspective. I'm always observing my memories. And I noticed that the other day I had 2 dreams in a row where actually they were coming through my eyes. And they were like my NDE, because in my NDE, I wasn't observing myself. I was the person there. I was there. I was seeing it all through my eyes. So keep in mind that grounding is a really good thing to do for everybody.
Well, I'm going to add a bit more because she's added some stuff here. So Jody, so you said, I'm trying to not do it. I feel like I cannot actually be in the moment without watching myself. You say, no, you have a sister older, 3 years older with special needs. Okay. No, I know that Diane added this. I don't say this. You can ask Dave. I don't normally say that, but something about you being outside your body, I don't know why, and I could be right. Maybe it was a past life. I don't know, because I know Diane added, what did you put there, Diane? I got to go back up. Where was it? I saw it. There is a missing twin syndrome. I would never tell somebody what it is. That's why I asked you. But I often, you know what? I'm going to tell you a quick story. For example, I went through infertility treatments with my oldest son. And I was always told I never have children, but I would ever have children. But I used to have to go for ultrasounds when I was going through the medication cycle. And the day I knew when I was pregnant, 2 days after it happened, because I just felt so different. But my point is, just before I knew how many eggs were there were 2, and only one released and became my son. And my son knows this story, but he's often felt like he's missing something. Now, was that child supposed to be born with him? I don't know.
Maybe.
Like, I don't feel like this is a living child that was around you. Like, that's why. And you can ask Dave. I don't normally say stuff like this, but I feel really like I'm picking something up like that. Doesn't mean it happened. Could be anybody else in the chat. Could be somebody listening, but I'm really feeling that. So I thought I would share it with you.
No, that's true. And you know, and just so everybody knows, and anybody who's listening, if you ever don't have a child or a child's not here, trust me, they're okay. I just had another reading today, and this is so awkward for me sometimes. I'll be sitting there and I'm talking to their spirit, and I told the woman, I said, okay, so you have 3 children, correct? And she goes, no, I have 2. I said, no, are you sure you have 2? And I just laughed. I said, I'm sorry I just say it like that. But I said, there's a 3rd child. And then she sat there for a minute and she goes, oh, I lost a child when I was younger. I'm like, okay, just so you know.
I had a miscarriage when they turned 50.
I said, your child is still your child. That child is just fine doing whatever it is they do over there.
Sometimes they come back. Like, I'm fascinated not only by near-death experiences, but I've really studied a lot of children who remember their past lives or whatever that is. And there was one story, I think it was called The Ghost Inside My Child. And the little boy was 3, and you'll hear little ones talk about, well, you're not my mommy. And the mother will say, well, of course I'm your mom. No, my mommy looked like this. And, you know, they have the memory, what have you. Well, this little guy had been born after years of infertility with his mom and his mom and dad going through it, numerous miscarriages. So when she got pregnant, finally, she was terrified. Like, she never thought she was going to carry this little guy to to term. He was about 3 years old, and they had quite a few conversations about stuff he knew from that there's no way he would know. But the one that really struck her was he said, "Mommy, I'm so glad I decided to stay this time." And she said, "What do you mean, honey?" And he was able to start telling her he was that little soul that she kept miscarrying, and he was able to, like, kids start to lose it around 5 or 6, these memories, not so much, but he was able to, through series of conversations apparently that were documented, that this little guy had said that I used to get scared and I didn't want to do it and I backed out. Now that's not what happens with everybody's
It's always, there's always different.
like, I had a miscarriage, and I've always been told since I was a little girl I would have 3 little boys. Always, always, always. And when I was going through my mediumship course years ago, we never met each other. We never saw each other. It was a telephone conversation. You basically talked for 30 seconds and you had to read each other. I can't tell you how many people picked up on that little boy around me, could describe him and what have you.
Some people pick it up better. I have a real feel for children on the other side. So, but it's funny how they come in. It's hard to describe. They feel different than somebody else when they come in. For me, the energy of a child that didn't stay here, it's really freaking amazing. Actually, it's really quite beautiful. So that's how I pick it up, and that's how I know. Or else it'll come in clear cognitively. It'll just be like, there are this many. And it's like, I know this, so I have to say it. And it's usually right. So
I wanted to share this because this brought to mind something a little spooky. So Diane Brighton says, my nephew is a twin. He was not told, but every weekend he visited his dad. He saw a boy that looked just like him. I have a picture in my phone. I don't know if it's in this phone. And there is a mom swimming with a little guy in the family pool, like an above ground pool, and he's got water wings on. And in the background, there's an exact image of another little guy. Looks almost exactly like the guy, except that he's the first little guy, but he's see-through. And I swear to God, I started bawling, and I'm not a crier. When I read the story behind this mom, nobody saw the second little boy in the pool. They were just the family in the pool. They only had one child, but she had lost his twin brother, her only son. He was about 3 in the picture. She had lost his identical twin. I believe it was at just before birth or just shortly after birth. And when you see this picture, and again, people can always fake it. But why? Like, why would you fake a story like that? But the reason why she shared it was, here's the little one she lost, enjoying in spirit a beautiful family moment between mom and son, and the little guy was still around and letting them know, because he wasn't there. They couldn't see him, but they saw it in the picture.
In the picture. No, and that does happen. And going back to the picture thing, sometimes they might see something in the picture, just like we said, nobody else saw it, but they saw it.
Everybody can see it in this picture. If I can find it while we're talking, you don't need it circled. This is a full human being, except you can kind of see behind him. Like, there's no shadow of a doubt. Doesn't need a circle, doesn't need anything. It's
there.
Unless it was a double exposure, but I doubt it. So Jody, I wanted to, if you're okay, and I appreciate you. I really appreciate you sharing this. First of all, you said, I've actually felt homesick for something since a little girl. My mom wasn't emotionally connected to me, and I'm sorry for that. But this was what you shared. I had an abortion, God bless, when Elise was 3. She's now 17. And the reason why I wanted to address that is everything happens for a reason. And I'm not being blasé about this, but like David and I have been talking about, that little one is fine. Okay, in spirit. And sometimes these things happen. Sometimes we contract ahead of Let me finish and you jump in, Dave. Sometimes we contract to do this. Okay, maybe it was something you were meant to learn. Maybe this little one agreed to have this experience. Maybe it was an experience the soul wanted to experience. We do experience everything, but just so you know, because I know a lot of people, women really struggle with that, and sometimes you have to do what you have to do in the moment. And I'm not trying to create discord about people's religious beliefs or anything. It's just to give people who have gone through that hopefully a little bit of peace and understanding. Go ahead, Dave. Sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
sound like I'm
no.
ordering you around. Let me go first and you speak. Sorry, I wasn't thinking. I had
That's
spirit talking to me, so that's why.
No, you have to. When they start channeling, you got to take it. You just do. No, what Lorilei, I was just going to agree with Lorilei. There are, and a lot of people don't want to believe it, and I'm sorry, and you don't have to believe it, but sometimes it is contract. You got to understand that there is a lot of souls. People think there's like a billion people here or whatever. There is way, 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 way many souls in the expansion of eternity, more than can fit on any one planet. So some people, if they've never been here before, sometimes they'll contract it in with somebody. They just kind of want to dip their toes. They'll come into that experience of what it's like to be within the mother and have that experience and then go back. And I will say this, every mom I know who's been through something like that they kick butt. They're stronger than anybody else. And they wouldn't have been able to do that if they weren't that strong. So just keep in mind, whatever your religious beliefs are, anything, I apologize if I'm making fun of it, and I'm not. But children are fine, just like we are. They are fine, you know.
You didn't offend anybody, Jody. We just mentioned it because we have quite a few people listening that aren't necessarily in the chat that you guys see from all over. And just so people know, this is from a spiritual perspective, what David and I know from doing the work that we do, or others. There's other people in the chat that do this kind of work as well. And there is, you know what, I always say to my dad taught me this years ago. He always used to say, Laura, walk a mile in someone's shoes. And we don't know what you were going through, nor does anybody else. And you know what, that was your experience. And sometimes people like to put their not 2 cents worth, $1 million worth in, and it's nobody's business but your own. But we hope it'll give you some peace, and you're not offending anybody.
Don't offend anybody. I wish more people would talk about that. I've had some people, like even on my TikTok channel, I've made a couple of videos and people ask some really questions, and it's like I want to answer them because I know from my own truth what it is, and they want to know. And all you can do is what Lorilei said earlier. To anything me or Lorilei ever says, or any psychic or anything it says to you, if it doesn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. Just drop it. Just let it go, because it really doesn't matter.
Okay, I just saw this because I heard from Spirit there were some more questions, so I was scrolling up. So Jennifer M. asks, do either of you have experience with astrocartography? Can you think of any resources for beginners? You know what I have found, Dave, you see what you think. There in this world, this spiritual world, there are people that are either so drawn to anything to do with astrology. I understand that that's not quite what this is. There's cards involved as well, but they know everything. It just clicks and it connects. So there's people like myself who I know some things about astrology, but I don't feel that pull towards it, nor am I exception. I would never say to you, I could read your birth chart. Yeah. So I don't know anybody. I don't really know anything about it. Maybe you do, Dave, but I don't know much about it.
You may know because what you're talking about in astrology is a way to map out the world and see which places that you're like comfortable with, or where you've been, or something like that, or where you might end up. I'm the same exact way Lorilei is. I love astrology. I believe in astrology. I know astrology is true. I'm not one who's drawn to it. It's just not something that I need. I do know Susan.
I have a resource for you. I'm just looking it up, but go ahead, Dave. And then
I would probably ask an astrologist, any astrologist, if they're working on that. This is a newer thing people are doing. This isn't really old. This is a newer thing coming in.
I have a friend who has been on the show, The Angel Rock, many times. Her name is Carmen Turner Schott. She's coming on the Angel Rock on Monday, September the 2nd. But if you look up her website, it's Carmen Turner Schott. If you can't spell it or you're not sure, just go to my YouTube channel on the Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. You scroll through there, you'll see shows with her. Her link is there. I don't know what she's giving away for free now, but I know last time she was on about 6 months ago, but it's no longer being offered. She's offering something else free. She was giving people 27, 29-page free birth charts with explanations in them. She is incredible. Every time I have her on, people adore her. She now, I think, has her own podcast. She's really grown her community, and she's written so many books. So I would suggest checking her out, Jennifer. You were going to say someone too, David?
Yeah, I also know somebody who is a very, very good astrologist. And I don't know if she does that, though. I've never asked her, but her name is Susan Reynolds. So if you
okay, yeah, Jackie Lane just said that. I just highlighted.
Oh, Susan Reynolds. Okay. Jackie Lane. I know. Do you know Susan? Susan's really great. She's very sweet. We did a podcast together. She was on my podcast long years ago when I first started it. And she's good friends with a good friend of mine. And yeah, Susan Reynolds is a great astrologer as well.
Okay, so this is a good question too. First of all, what I wanted to add, because I've seen a few comments and stuff. Now, Spirit gave me this. Again, if it resonates, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. But what we perceive becomes what we believe, and it becomes our reality. Remember, everything we are being told, or that you read, or say you see a book about crystals, or you see a book about whatever, that has come from another human being. Okay? Now, it doesn't mean that that person isn't tapped in. Does it mean that they haven't channeled it? But we need to have discernment, and we need to take what resonates or what feels right to us. The same reason why that's the beauty in what Dave and I do. We don't always agree, but we're going to show you two different perspectives, as well as try and show other people's perspectives. And those listening or watching, take what feels right for you. And it's not written in stone. You could change it all tomorrow.
Your heart knows what in the heck is going on. I do know, because, you know, and even with astrology, probably the only astrology question that I could answer from an absolute knowing was somebody on TikTok had asked me, her husband has passed away and she still likes to read his horoscope every day. And I said, and she said, is that crazy? And I said, no, that's very sweet. You're honoring that person. You're honoring them. So yeah, do that. But then she asked me, well, does he still have that horoscope on that side? And my answer is no. There's no need for a horoscope there. That horoscope has to do with your birth here in the physical world.
But he could reference it through speaking to you through a medium, so that his wife, the woman we're speaking of, for example, would know it was him.
Oh, absolutely. If, like I said, if I were to do a reading with him, I would be totally surprised as if the husband didn't come in right away and give his sign.
Yes.
You know exactly what that meant. Not that we go by it, but yeah, this is horoscopes are, I think actually, to an extent, I think horoscopes are very, very they're like kind of a little roadmap, and if you can follow it, it's good. I think they're good for you.
But don't close yourself off, because that's where I was going to go to this comment. Because like I mentioned earlier, the woman that was so drawn to the law of attraction is beautiful. It's really beautiful. But when it came to something difficult in their life, they were wondering, like, why did I draw this person to me? And how we got into the conversation that pretty likely you didn't draw them. They drew you because of a contract. So exactly with this, Jody, if your birth chart doesn't change and is mapped from birth, is it still possible to change certain things? I mean, if they're stamped in, it's inevitable. I'm super interested in astrology, but no, nothing. I can tell you right now, nothing is stamped in stone. Your birth chart is not stamped in stone. For example, when Carmen was telling me about my birth chart right now, I'm in a really, like, it goes on a 9-year cycle, the way she explained it. The cycle I'm in right now, it's super exciting depending on how you look at it, but it's open for all kinds of changes and possibilities and whatever. So you're not going to look at a birth chart and it's going to say, you, Jody, you have to be a primary school teacher. It would never tell you that. It may maybe point out that you're, some of your strong suits and where, part of your, it can help you with soul contracts and reasons why you're here. Yes, it can help guide you, but it's going to leave it open to generalities. Like it may say you may be best suited to work in the education area. It's not even going to say field. You can teach anybody anywhere. It doesn't have to be school, right? Am I wrong, Dave? Or feel free to
No, I agree with you as well. And in astrology too, if you look at it this way, now I have a belief that with free will. So even though you are born with your astrology sign and you have this, even you guys listen, here, this one's gonna really knock your socks off. Even if you came in here with all these things that you wanted to accomplish, you can change that while you're here. You can still change it.
Plus, depending when you were born, and depending on where the bulk of your signs are, okay, because that's when you get into this house and that house and this, and I don't know anything about it in the way that Carmen does, but from what I've understood from her, basically your birth chart and why they need to know your name, the time of birth, the date, where you were born, blah, blah, blah. And it was the first time I ever actually really understood astrology. And Carmen had said it years ago. I don't believe she's the be-all to the end-all of astrology. I've talked to many different people and had other people, but I actually understood it. She said it is a snapshot of the 12 constellations of the second your birth is done. She can even do it if you don't know your birth time, for example. But it made sense, and she started to explain the different houses. But depending where you're born, like say you're born around when a astrological sign could change, say from Leo to Libra, I think it's Leo to Libra, isn't it? Well, take Cancer to Leo, right? You could take the characteristics of more Cancer, you could take more Leo. Like I said, nothing is that written in stone. It's not like a stone tablet when it comes. It's like, think of it more as like a guideline with a bit of a map. But like David said, just because it says it on paper does not mean that you have free will. You can do whatever you choose, right, Dave?
Yeah, and if you look at it, and this is really interesting too, I believe. Like people ask, why do we have astrology? If you look at it from my point of view, from being over there and knowing what I know, when we come here, you're coming in here as spirit. You haven't been wiped clean yet of everything. You haven't. That comes a little later on. You're still just kind of everything and everyone. Once you connect into the astrology part of your life, how you look with your life and all that things with your life, that's going to kind of help you shape a personality while you're here for this new person that you are. Because me, David, has not been in Aries in every lifetime. I've been different ones. I've connected with what I needed to connect with, which was going to give me that little bit of direction. It's almost just like astrology and what you are. It's almost like that little candlelight in a dark room, and you're like, oh, okay, go towards that. So it's kind of like that's going to get you towards that personality. But like Lorilei said too, things can change. I mean, your horoscope's going to stay the same while you're here, according to what's on paper. But what you do and how you act can be different, because you could be an Aries and have a narcissistic personality, which is going to take you away from the things that Aries are. Or you could be an Aries and you had something so traumatic that you are shy and you stay in the house and you're not. And Aries are supposed to be leaders. So what you are and who you are, according to astrology, I think has some, it's almost
but
like,
it's not the be all to the end all is where we're trying to go, David. It's a tool, like the way Spirit showed it to me, right? Many of us have felt this way. I know I have. I know Dave more than likely has. All of us had, where we really felt alone, right? And why am I here? Nobody understands me. And then when I started looking at all the things that we have been sent along with us to guide us on our journey while we are here, astrology is just one tool. We have guides, we have angels, we can tap in with meditate. There are so many things. Once you start to look at this, you realize you've never been just dumped here on your own.
yeah,
You've been sent with all the tools. But it's up to us as well on this adventure to figure out what those tools are and which one's best for us.
Exactly. I always tell everybody, if you ever see my TikToks, I say this all the time. All you need to do is remember who you are. That's all. We actually spend, because when you come here, you're coming here clean, because what you're doing basically is you're learning something about yourself from the perspective of you. Of like I'm learning about David over there, who's not named David. It's something different. That person's learning about himself more by putting me here with the name David, with the astrology sign David's going through the stuff David went to as a male with long hair, and this and that happens. but who I am learns from that. And that's basically what we're doing. Not saying that you're not whole people while you're here. You
know
are.
why I got so drawn into Carmen? Speaking of Jody, I think she said she was from Wales. I work with somebody with a publishing house over there that does a lot of PR. He sends me some really great authors from all around the world. And Carmen had a book. It was spiritual. I always forget. I'm sorry, Carmen. Spiritual something something. And it was about astrology in the finer print. But it said something something 12th houses and fallen angels. And my curiosity was, I got to know, how do you put fallen angels and astrology together? But once you start talking to Carmen and I looked at it, and she was talking about, she's always had a deep interest, and she's a social worker, and she's got her master's in social work. She still works in social work as the muggle job, as I call it. But she uses astrology many times within her work as well to help guide her and help her to be able best to help her clients. Okay. But what she was talking about, she's always been drawn to people who have the bulk of their astrology signs are in the 8th house and the 12th house. And she gave a lot of characteristics, but in the 12th house especially, there are people who feel like I don't belong here. I feel like I've been adopted in my own family. And there were many characteristics, and the way she described it, and I'm not doing it justice, they were basically like fallen angels, that they've really just come from heaven and been dropped. They feel like they've almost fallen to earth, right? And trying to find their feet and trying to find their way. It wasn't about what we think fallen angels is from multimedia and stuff.
Yeah,
so that's how I kind
the fallen angel thing. There's a religious aspect of it. I always tell people, if you want to know more or think about it this way, say you're going to play like one of those interactive video games where you've got the POV and you're walking through the haunted houses or doing all that. Well, what happens is, if you look at this, life is literally a choose your own adventure, is what life is. It's a choose your own adventure. You come to experience it, have a good time, and do whatever you want to do or need to do. But you picked your character. Like I picked Dave. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I did, but I picked Dave.
I always say I wish I would have read the fine print.
Yeah. Dave does what? Are you freaking kidding me? No, I don't want that crap. The game's already
Lore. I picked Lore.
Yeah, so you picked who you are, who your parents are. Your parents picked you. You picked what state you're going to be born in, what time you're going to be born in. You picked all those things. That's what gave you your horoscope too as well. You picked every one of those things. But as you pick them, now when you get here and wake up, you start playing the game. As you're playing the game, though, you can change stuff about your character.
Yes.
I can change my hair any way I want. I can get overweight. I can get underweight. I can get anything. And
you could travel. You could live all kinds of things. I want to add, Kathy Hanley Little shared. She, meaning Carmen, gave me a chart, and she's one of the ones that the majority is in the 12th house. So she would be what Carmen was referring to, a fallen angel. So there you go. I wanted to share this too, Dave, because this is cool. Jackie Lane says, I'm a teacher and I made seating charts with my students according to the 4 elements in astrology. They loved it and it made my life easier. I love that. Oh, so cool.
I love that, especially. I love the elements. I love the elements. I really do.
But what I'm trying to say to you guys, and I know Dave is too, that if that's all you feel right now and that's where you're drawn, wherever you're drawn, great. But don't close yourself off to the possibility that all that exists is astrology. It's not. I mean, I just fell upon, again, I'd forgotten about the 4 agreements. You can look at that. Then like Dave's been talking about what he's been talking about with Kabbalion. I mean, you could go on and on and on. There are so many different things to look at, to feel into, to study, to try it on for size. If it fits, great. If you've outgrown it, that's what I'm saying. So there's not just one aspect to rule them all. There's not one ring to rule them all while you're here. Like I think you said it best, Dave. You come here and you create your own adventure.
Yeah, it's what it is. And you can change things all the time too. You really can. And you are learning. Some people call it a school. Some people call it. I mean, it's all those things. It really is. It's not just that, but
there is a lineup, from what I understand, from the the years of doing this and studying and reading, but also I believe Spirit has shown me that because you get many people, I know you do, Dave, I do too, most of us in this field do. Why am I here? What's my purpose? And some people don't even realize, like, they think this is it, right? This is it. There's nothing else. And I just got dropped here by accident. Spirit's shown me there's a lineup. If we're looking at it, somebody put in the chat earlier, 3D existence, like looking at it from a 3D perspective. But there is a lineup to come here. And although it may not feel like it, we are so lucky to be here. And we chose to be here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You really have. You really did choose me. And I always tell people, be careful of how you see stuff too, because I run into people and they'll go, because I'll tell people I don't believe in hell. I don't believe in, okay, I shouldn't say that. I don't believe in the Christian version of hell. Okay. So, but anyway, what was I going to say? So people come here and they'll say, oh, well, that's because this is hell on earth. We're in hell right now and doing that. It's like, well, no, that's your perspective. And that's totally cool if that's what you want. But, you're going to have a miserable life if you think you're supposed to come here and you're supposed to be able to change anything you want. And you really can. I always tell people, you really can change your circumstances. And instead of saying, why does this happen to me? You have to ask yourself, what can I learn from this instead? Because that's the best way to do it. You'll find that for every bad thing that happens, there is something good down the road. And that's part of how life works.
Well, Kelly said, I always thought I'd never make it past 18. And I would wonder what am I still doing here? Yeah. I think David could probably, my near-death experience was as a toddler, but studying it for many, 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 many years, professionally and personally, never mind, straight from David. Okay, you're here for a reason, and you're obviously not done for the reason why you're here. Would you agree, Dave, or what do you want? I'm hearing from Spirit you're going to answer this much more eloquently.
For Kelly. We'll get, but a lot of people, though, too, I have to say, I'm not negating yours. There's a lot of people when we're younger, it's like, oh my God, I'm never going to make it to 40. I can't believe I'm going to make it to 40. And then all of a sudden they're 75 going, what the hell? And that's just how it is, what Lorilei said. Whatever you need to do, you're going to do it here. And when you leave here is really a moot point. I mean, it's really, you've decided different at some time, but I think it's just kind of, when you're done, you're done. When your soul goes, oh yeah, we're at that point now, something's going to happen and you're going to go. But we don't know that. You know who knows when you're going to go? Your higher self knows.
I agree 100%. I've had this conversation many times working in palliative care. And I always say, regardless of what a doctor tells you, regardless of what a nurse tells you, regardless of what anybody tells you, the only person that knows when your loved one is going to transition back home, as I call it, that is between them and the creator or whatever their belief system is.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
So Kathy says, Kathy Hanzel, that I was wondering what my life purpose was until I realized that my purpose is to discover this spiritual world. Now, part of that may be, okay, and I never tell people what their life purpose is. I know Dave doesn't either. I will help work with you through Spirit, with your team and my team, and help walk you through it. But it's not up to me to tell you what your journey is. That's like me opening all your Christmas presents for you. I'm not going to do that. But you also, once you start to discover it, maybe you might feel a calling within your heart or within, what do I do with this now?
That's what I tell people. Remember who you are and you'll remember exactly why you're here. And it's kind of like, I look at life as like a game at some point. You get kind of dropped off here and you got this little roadmap, but you can't really read it well because you lost your glasses. I say it's still in your heart. As soon as you remember who you are, you put your glasses on, you're like, I got it. I know it. I know what I'm doing.
Give yourself the grace and the peace of mind, because I'm going to read Jody's comment here. She goes, it's difficult to know what to aim for when you can't figure out what you want in the first place. I'm just watching life happen. Okay, so what if that's what really is happening? What if you gave yourself the grace and the peace of mind that that's where I am right now. I haven't figured it out today, and that is okay. Because I always say, and I really believe this, that when we make decisions from a place of love and with other people's highest good in mind or your highest good in mind. And that doesn't mean coming from a place of love and highest good in mind that I'm going to step in and take over someone's path or do whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. Really being guided by love. Okay. And just going forward, somebody needs help and you're willing to help, whatever it may be. But where Spirit was showing me that was not twisting the words that I'm coming from a place of love and I've got their highest good in mind. When you see somebody really screwing up, and so you go in and take over, that's kind of interfering with someone else's path, is what Spirit's showing me. But where I'm going with this is it's okay. Give yourself permission that it's okay. You're not going to figure it out all in one day. Maybe you will. But I think if you take it minute by minute, because that's all we got. All we got is now.
Yeah,
that was already in the past.
Mm-hmm. One, I can help you with this right now, Jody. Well, I can give you something to give you a chance. So one, everybody stop looking into the future for your happiness. It's not there. It's here. You got to find it here. If you find it here, it's going to be out there. You can't.
And
you can't
within.
go to something. Yeah, it's here. Nobody's
going to make you happy. Losing that extra 30 pounds is not going to make you happy. No. Any of that stuff you think is going to make you happy won't. You have to find the joy within.
Yeah, within. And then if you look at it, you don't know what to aim for. You know, it's a good place to start when you're sitting here. Whatever seems more fun, whatever choice you have that seems more fun. It doesn't have to have anything to do with a job, a career, or anything. If you're sitting there and go, I don't really know what I want out of life, but what do you want right now? I really want some chocolate ice cream. Get your butt up and go get some chocolate ice cream, and don't discount that.
I forgot that big piece. Yes, David is absolutely right. Seek joy.
Yeah, you want to just follow that joyful feeling, whatever it is. Even if you have two crappy feelings, ask yourself, well, which one is slightly more joyful? Go there. Always go there, always go there, always go there. Literally, life will just pull you down. Come on, come with me.
And if you're not happy, that is also your job to figure out why. If you don't know why, I always talk to people, if you don't know what brings you joy, go back to childhood. What made you happy? What did you dream about? What did you want to do? Go back to some of that stuff. The other thing is we can all use healing. I was just saying that maybe it was Monday night, or I was saying this off air. I can't remember. I was saying I go to healers. We all go to healers. Could I try and do it for myself? Yeah, but sometimes, you know what, when you got a leak in your pipe in the kitchen, could I go on YouTube and figure out how to fix it? Probably, but would it be fixed properly? Probably not. Would it stop the water leak for a bit? So who would I call? I'm going to call someone that fixes pipes every day. I'm going to call a plumber who knows what they're doing, and they're going to fix it right the first time. So yes, I go see healers still. I'm still a work in progress. So sometimes
everybody is.
We need inner healing. We need to look at that stuff and let it go.
Mm-hmm. You know how I can be so certain to tell you that there is no living being on this planet who is perfect? Because they don't exist here, but they do exist outside of here. So.
Jennifer says, have an angel day. I learned that from David on Mystics too. One day a month, I have an angel day, and I always learn something new about what fills my heart. I love that.
Okay, so you know that. Yep, I did teach. I used to teach that a long time ago. I got to go back to that. But yeah, you got to have those days.
Mm-hmm. And Jackie says we're all on a healing journey. We are. But, you know, and that's where I think I really get that a lot from Spirit. I don't always say I'm talking to Spirit. I'm listening to Spirit all the time, like David is too. But the thing is, that's why sometimes if I cut in or Dave cuts in, is because we're hearing them, we got to say it or we'll forget. But the thing what I was going to say is it's really coming from Spirit right now. I'm hearing it a lot for myself and to share with others, especially to give yourself grace. You know, if you will, most of us, not all of us, but most of us, say you saw a small child. Some of the things we say to ourselves with that inner voice, or how we treat ourselves, or what we expect of ourselves, we would never say that to, say, a beautiful little child in front of, even if it was disfigured, whatever, a small, innocent child. We were once a small, innocent child, and we need to treat ourselves with that kind of love, kindness, and tenderness. Even doing that, trying to change some of those thoughts and those words, you would be surprised what kind of shift that can make in your life.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. I believe that. Jackie says, oh, you said that we're all on a healing journey.
I didn't see it. I just highlighted it. So good job, Dave.
To an extent, yeah, everybody's healing. But you know what I have to tell you guys? I mean, this is my view. I have never looked at one person in my life and said they're broken. Because I don't think people are
Because
broken.
you're not broken.
Yeah, no one's broken.
But I had this conversation with someone off air, and they're thinking of getting into healing work. And one of the first things, and I went from spirit, is I think we all need to sit down with the word healing and ask ourselves, what does healing mean to me? Because healing means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Like everybody that hears healing may not equate it, and I'm not dissing it because you're absolutely right, but some people may not think it means broken. Some people may think it means only physical things, like you got a broken arm and so the arm is healing, or you got a cut. And so you see what I'm saying? So I think once we define that for ourselves, and you start looking at, because I can guarantee you can ask people why they're unhappy and they'll say, I don't know. But you start talking and they start talking, say back from childhood forward.
They know, yeah.
You know exactly why they're unhappy.
Yeah, they know. Yeah, they know. Yeah, no one's broken. We're just kind of here and there, this and that. I had something else I was going to say and I lost it.
Dave.
No, it's okay.
Sometimes when I keep talking, it'll come back. I don't know if that'll help.
Yeah, it usually does. It usually does all the time. Mm-hmm. It was about like coming back. Oh, yes, that's what I was going to tell you. Thank you. Your words are very powerful. Mm-hmm. What you tell yourself is what you become. Mm-hmm. So for those people who look in the mirror and go, I'm no good at this. I am never going to have a good relationship. I'm terrible. I don't trust people. I'm always late. I'm always this. I don't like my nose. My nose is the biggest ugly thing. You're literally, if you talk to somebody else like that, people would go, you're so mean. Just go out of here. Why would you talk to yourself like that? I never do. I used to. I used to talk really bad about myself years ago.
There's days I'll say stuff and catch myself. Like when I make a mistake, I'll beat myself up over it.
No, I do. Yeah, I do here and there.
I still do it. I still have to catch myself. We all have that inner voice. And unfortunately, it's usually had a lot more years of programming than we spent deprogramming it.
Yeah, but you know, it's the nice thing is that since I got all these invisible people around me, when I do something funky or I do something, I'm like, oh, that was stupid. They're stupid, David, and I laugh at myself. I just laugh about it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, and that's it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you don't want to ever talk bad about yourself, because if somebody else talked bad about you, wouldn't that make you want to just punch them? So when you talk bad about yourself,
you do catch yourself thinking bad about yourself.
Punch yourself in the face.
Some people I know, how is it? Stop, cancel, delete, and then they'll literally think that, and then they'll reword the thought when you catch yourself.
Oh yeah, you can't. I do it all the time. You know how many times a day? This is another thing I do. It's kind of, I was comical. I found myself doing it today. I'll see somebody will post something on Facebook and it'll be a trigger. Okay. Because we all got triggers. I don't care who you are and how healed you are. Everybody's got some kind of trigger that makes them go, damn it, I hate that emotion. And that just made it happen. But I have a thing I'll do. I will write out the entire comment, all mean and everything else. And I'll sit there a minute and I'll backspace. And I get rid of the whole thing. But you know what? I gave myself the gift of completing the circuit. Mm-hmm. So I was angry. I knew I was angry. And instead of just clicking off of it and go, well, I'm going to be fine. No, I'm still angry. I'm going to go on there and I'm going to complete the circuit. I just don't send it. I complete it for my own benefit.
And that works for you. You guys, we're out of time already. We literally have this is a fact. And I know we're a few minutes late tonight. So thank you guys for your patience. Go ahead, Dave. Tell them where to find you and everything.
If you guys would like to learn more about me, you can go to my website, theywhispertome.com. Remember that I never, ever private message people to solicit readings. So if someone does under my name, they're an imposter. You can find me or follow me on social media at TikTok and Instagram under @Medium David Hanzel. You can find me on Facebook at theywhispertome.com page or my online group called The Spirit Experience. And please, real quickly, if you're so inclined, please join Lorilei and mine's Facebook group, The Thing at the Foot of the Bed. Nice private group. Have a lot of fun. Take it away, Lorilei.
Yes, so if you guys are enjoying what you're seeing, the second night of the Outer Realm with the amazing Michelle DeRoche, she's our station manager as well, and Amelia Pisano is on right up after this, so you guys stay tuned. And some people have been here for the first time tonight. Jody Jenkins, she said she thoroughly enjoyed. Joanna Childs, thank you. We love having you all here, and we love doing this every week. So if you ever want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on any social media platform. I do have a Facebook page, facebook.com/Angel Rock. Say you want to book a reading, do mediumship, do psychic, do all kinds of stuff like that. I do energy healing, crystal Reiki, which balances chakras. I do teaching and mentoring. Fastest is an easiest way to get a hold of me actually is message me on Facebook Messenger. I'm working on a domain name and an all one-stop shop to be able to book. I'm getting busier, so with booking readings and stuff like that. But you can find me on any social media platform. Now, I have 2 groups on Facebook, Paranormal University for all things paranormal, the Angel Rocker Tribe for more spiritual type things like what we talked about tonight. Don't forget, I think, Dave, you did say about our group already, didn't you?
Yep, I did.
Okay, you did. Everybody's going, have a good night, and we love having you all here. Don't forget about the Angel Rock Monday night, 6 to 8 p.m. I'm having a new guest on. I looked and my mind just went blank. It'll be someone good, I promise. Because you know what? Most of my guests I end up getting from my very good friend Gavin Davies. He's the publisher over in the UK and Wales. Mind you, sometimes I find people, or lots of times we have sometimes repeat guests or interesting people, and we love y'all. So I'll see you next Monday, and then of course Dave and I'll be back here next Thursday for sure, right, Dave?
Well, you guys stay spooky, and you ready? Let's try doing this.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. What's at the foot of your bed?
Did we do it? I
don't know. I kind of went. You guys were crazy. If anybody listens to our show and gets to the end, let us know which ones that we were in sync on, because we're trying to get it
right in sync. So that's our little thing we do at the end. We love you all, you guys. Stay spooky, and we'll see you next week. Okay, we're grateful for all you too. Okay, have a good one. Have a great weekend.